guys, so today for grammar we are going to be talking about a new unit. We're actually moving on from adjectives and adverbs, and we are talking about subject pronouns and focusing on pronouns in our sentences. So we're starting with lesson 34, so that's the page that you'll be doing in your book today. And so let's get started. So what is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that takes the place of one or more noun. And usually we think of them as I, me, we. It's in place of a noun, okay? But more specifically, a subject pronoun takes the place of a noun or the nouns in the subject. So we're saying noun or nouns because we could have singular nouns in our subject or plural nouns in our subject. Now remember, our subject is what the sentence is about, usually is at the beginning of our sentence. And so what we're going to be doing today is replacing the subject of a sentence with a pronoun. And so therefore, it won't be those nouns anymore, it'll be a pronoun that's our subject instead. So like I said, it is used as the subject of a sentence. So we're going to be replacing those subjects with pronouns. Now, the subject pronouns, like I said before, we have singular and we have plural. Remember, singular is one, plural is more than one, okay? So some of our singular pronouns, or singular subject pronouns, are I, you, he, she, and it. Okay, so those can be replaced with names of people or objects or animals, right? So try to think of it as you're kind of replacing it a lot of times with people, but also it can be other things as well. In this case, it's all the subjects in our sentence. And then for plural subject pronouns, we have we, you, and they. Okay, so let's do a couple of examples together. So these are actually right on the page in your book under lesson 34. They're at the top, so if you need to reference it when you're doing your examples, feel free to do that. But let's do these ones together. So the first one says, Mary had a little lamb. So I bolded and underlined Mary because that's the subject in our sentence. Because we're talking about who had a little lamb, Mary had a little lamb, right? So our sentence is about Mary. Now, we need to replace Mary with one of our pronouns. And so if you think back, or if you're looking at your page, you can kind of get an idea. It's either I, we, she, he, it. What one makes sense that we could replace Mary with? And hopefully you're thinking of she, right? We could replace Mary with she. Would we replace Mary with he? Probably not, because he is referring to a boy and Mary is a girl. We wouldn't necessarily say it because Mary is a person, so we can use a pronoun that also means a person instead of using it, right? And we, it's not going to be we because we're only talking about one person. We're only talking about Mary. So you kind of have to ask yourself those questions as you're going through these sentences about which one might make the most sense in our sentence. So this one is, she had a little lamb. Okay? Now, look at the next one. It says, Jack and Jill went up the hill. So the underlined phrase is what we're going to replace. Now, remember, we said it could be a noun or nouns. So if you look at number 2, you'll see that Jack and Jill, we're talking about two people. So we know that our replacement subject pronoun has to be plural. It can't go back to singular, okay? So what word means, or what word is in the plural that we could use to replace Jack and Jill? We could say they went up the hill, okay? So they replaces Jack and Jill. So this is kind of the stuff that you're going to be doing on your homework today. You're just going to be replacing the words with a pronoun or finding the pronoun in the sentence. Now, what about the spider made a web? So it's not a he, it's not a she, but it could be an it. So it made a web. Okay, hopefully this is making sense. And then looking at the last one, Dad and I Love nursery rhymes. So we're talking about more than one person, so we're looking at plural subject pronouns that we can replace it with. And we could say we, right? Because you're talking about yourself and somebody else, so you can include yourself in that one. The difference between Dad and I versus Jack and Jill is I means that you're involved, so we can talk about the group as if you're in it, whereas Jack and Jill is they because you're talking about a separate group of people. Okay, but both are subject pronouns in the plural form, so they can be used to replace these. So it says, we love nursery rhymes. Okay, so that was a nice, easy, fast lesson. I wanted to go over page 156 and 157 directions with you. So if you want, now is a great time to pause your video, go grab your grammar book, and we can do numbers 1 on part A and 1 on part B together. Or you don't feel like you have to, you can come back and watch this again if you need to. So you're doing lesson 34, focusing on subject pronouns, and you're doing page 156 to 157. Now part A, the directions say write the subject pronoun in each sentence. So they're going to give you a sentence, okay? And you have to tell me what is one of the subject pronouns, okay? So it's either going to be I, me, we, she, it, they, okay? So number 1, we read the rhymes of Mother Goose. So my subject pronoun is we. So all you're doing is writing we on the line. And then part B says replace the word or words in dark print with a subject pronoun. So my dark print isn't coming up as easy as it is on the on your book, but I italicized it and bolded it, so it's kind of standing out. So we're going to find the dark print in your book, okay? And in this case, it's you and I look for some rhymes. So you and I is my underlined and in my dark print. And so we want to replace that phrase with a pronoun just like we did on the previous slide. So we can look and see, okay, so I'm including myself. I'm talking about more than one person. So I need a plural subject pronoun, and the one that makes the most sense in the sentence is we. Hopefully you were thinking that too. So again, this isn't a super hard lesson. It should be a good review. I think we've done pronouns in the past. So make sure you're reading each section carefully for the directions, and make sure that you are using those singular and plural when necessary, okay? And a lot of times when you say it in